Hi there. Uh, would you say you are God conscious or God unconscious? Take a minute and think about that. What does that mean? If I am God conscious, what does it mean? And if I am God unconscious, what does it mean? And what does it mean for my faith? Now, here's something that requires, remember, the only thing that pleases God is faith. And here's something that has two, I would say, levels of growth in faith. So we're going to go Bible, and in Matthew 8, verse 23, Jesus calms the sea. And we can read a little bit. Okay, so, and when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. But he was asleep. And his disciples came to him, and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Then, and he asked, this was a question, actually. Then he arose, and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Okay, so that's the first level. I'll tell you in a minute what that, whether that is unconscious or consciousness of God. The next one is in Acts 12, verse, well, we can read from verse 5. Or we can read from verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison, and delivered him to the 4 quaternions, I think that's what it says, of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. Prayer helps. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. Now, there's another level of God consciousness, okay? And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands. Okay, so just to understand, there is 2 levels of consciousness happening here. The first level is unconscious. They had Jesus in the boat, and they knew who he was. So, even though they knew who he was, even though it was Jesus, even though they just witnessed a miracle a few chapters ago, they still panicked. They were still anxious and worried about their lives. When we turn unto our flesh to save it, then unfortunately panic, anxiousness, things that pertain to our efforts start to creep in, honestly. So that was unconscious knowing of God. And this happens with all of us. Now the next one is a bit deeper. Now the next one, Peter was asleep. Out of all the disciples, very interestingly enough, the only one that actually stepped out of the boat, requested to step out of the boat, was Peter. Now, this doesn't just make him special or anything. It was just a demonstration of the different levels of faith. So Peter fell asleep, and his head was going to be lopped off the next day. or that very night, I think. But he was asleep. And that is because he was conscious of God. Think of it this way. If you've always, let's say, how can I explain this? The word God is not just mentioned as a dominant species or dominant being. God means on every level, I am God. Right? That means Jesus dominates in love. He would even dominate in hate. He would dominate in intelligence. He would dominate on every level. Okay? That he used to develop, and even more so. And Peter was conscious of this. And sometimes we get into situations where we forget who God is. We forget where we come from and how he got us to where we are. And like a father who says to his son or to his daughter, I'm gonna do this thing. I've never let you down before, but I'm gonna do this thing for you. How sad would it be if we kept on asking or kept on doubting that our Father would come through? You see, there is a level of consciousness that needs to start coming to, I would say, the body of Christ, God's people. Because you're unconscious of God, you look at the world as your reality and not God. With Peter, who had the last say? Herod? No, the last say of Herod was death. With the storm, who had the last say? When Jesus had to calm the storm, who? God has the last say in any of our situations. But what's tough is certain trials, certain tribulations are necessary for growth. Because like your spirit or like your flesh, which grows from a baby into an adult, so must your spirit grow from a baby, which feeds on milk, into a young adult, which feeds on, let's say, honey honey, and into a full-grown adult, which feeds on meat, the meat of the word. So keep that in mind the next time you find yourself in a situation you're waiting on God, or you find yourself in a difficult situation in which you don't see a way out. Sometimes God doesn't care about what we see. He cares about our faith. Where's our faith at? And understand that faith is a muscle. It must be exercised. And to become more conscious of God, to be in that peace, that place of peace, it's not easy. It takes day after day work. But that's what comes with the journey of seeking ye first the kingdom, and all these other things will be added. What does that sound like? That sounds like everything that you want and desire. They seek God. They go to him first. So if you find yourself with him first, guess what? You get to collect that grace. But that's when you seek ye first. Okay? So thank you very much for listening. Hope this blessed you as much as it blessed me. And have a great day.